They're dead.
Patrice is on the roof.
I'm going after him. You follow in the car.
Hi, we are here. I was gonna say hi, and then I was like, honestly, I haven't really been saying hi as much. I feel like recently, and that's not even just this game, that's just most games. I just kind of like blend everything together. That guy. I don't know if these ones are endless or whatever, but it feels like that. There's a place where you're supposed to jump down. Oh, no, zip line. Zip line. Zip line. That won't let me zip line. It's probably, I don't know if it's because there's guys, but whatever. So, yeah, it won't let me now. It still won't let me. Now it'll let me. Okay. So, correction I made at the end of Moonraker was that, yes, although, because again, I didn't really know, I knew it was DLC, but apparently it's free LC, so, yeah, which is good, because honest to God, if I spent fucking money on this...
Eve, what's the situation? Are you in contact with Bond? 007 is chasing Patrice, Mum. His radio's set to listen only.
Forgot they were talking. If I had paid money for this, I would have been pretty disappointed, because I don't think this is all that great. It's really disappointing when you consider the idea of how much potential Skyfall has when you look at it as an individual film. It's like, this could have been its own game, and then they give you, like, some of the worst segments of it. That's my opinion on the matter. I think it's a huge disappointment, and yeah.
James, watch out. I can see men on the rooftops above you.
The game originally launched before Skyfall was released, or around the time Skyfall was released. But the DLC for this came out about a month later. Now, this takes place at the very beginning of the film, opposed to all the other films where it's like, yeah, here's the climax. This is just the beginning and that's it. And my theory is like, well, you know, it's because the film was still new at the time, so it didn't want to give it away and all that shit. But truth be told, I don't know if I believe that, considering usually after about a month, theaters stop.
They're preparing an ambush.
Theaters stop showing films. So, like, there kind of shouldn't really be a reason for it. And the reason it just came with the Wii U is because the Wii U came out in December. So they kind of, you know, wasn't initially released then. This was a launch title. It's just weird to think that the Wii U came out in December. Or around there, because I thought it was November. But whatever. That's the idea, is it came out later. So, yeah. And we did this again. I hate this. Because she says ambush, but I fall for it again. Now, things about kind of this that gets me and bother me is, like, I've thought about it, and I've been trying to put my finger on, like, what it is about the Craig films that I just don't like as much, and it's apparently because they're actually just a reboot. It's they took everything that's ever existed and then they just threw it out the window and started over. And it's not that I mean, I'm going to admit ignorance to it, but I'm going to admit ignorance to it within reason. When Casino Royale came out, I knew for a fact, like, that was supposed to be Bond's first mission, and that was the story they were trying to tell. But I didn't realize it was a reboot. I thought it was meant to be more like a prequel. And then I knew Quantum was the sequel to that, which also made sense for prequel. Skyfall I didn't really know, but the way Skyfall ends, with it, like, setting up everything where it's like, oh, it's back to normal. It seems like that would have been the perfect way to end it off, and then be like, oh yeah, this is where the timeline resumes, and next in line is like Dr. No or something. Like, that feels like it would have made perfect sense. But they didn't do that. They threw everything away, so Bond's never been married and other shit like that. So I'm gonna need to look through the rest of Craig's films to try and pick out any other things that, like, I just notice. That's basically it. And this is like the last one ever. I'm gonna go for the compensator on this one, because point blank, we're not gonna really need stealth on this. And then I'm trying to think. Well, we can get a scope for you, but you're gonna suck with the scope. And then with the micro barrel, yeah. And then scope won't work with you either. So that's basically it. Only other things I could really put into it, I mean, because this is the end of it. And anything you purchase here is probably going to be worthless outside of maybe the training. And I'm not sure if I want to do that or not, but I'm thinking about it because it's like speed loader would be good. As would things like the aiming and, oh, not fast switch. Observation and speed loader. I mean, fuck it, I could just go ahead and buy a few of them just to have them, but like, that's what's getting me. Because I like the health stuff a lot. I do.
James, Patrice is hiding in a building up ahead.
And then here's the other part that's annoying. I also find this kind of just frustrating. It's pretty hard, it's pretty short, and it's a waste of potential because, like, if you did the scene, if you wanted to summarize the film, I guess, and we're sticking to the Legends formula here, which I've shot that guy literally 30 times and he's still alive. Now I gotta wait. It's cool. I enjoy this. This is fun. I'm stuck. If you wanted to, you could have done the island scene, and then, of course, the climax at the house, and there you go. There's your 2 levels. So why they did things the way they did things, I don't fucking know. But I've literally shot this man 60 fucking times, and he's still alive. You need to die.
Watch out, James. You've got reinforcements.
Maybe if you like designed it better to where it was very clearly obvious that he was not a shootable thing outside of wasting ammo. Oh yeah, another thing, which I've only just realized this, and you know, again, it's like it's crazy and weird to think about. It's been years. Last time I remember seeing Quantum was when it was new. I'm about to die again. I don't remember the last time I saw Casino, but like apparently, God fucking damn this thing. It's hard to watch out when there's busy being 12 billion people. It's also hard to commentate a video game when the video game is busy commentating itself. Anyway, if I can finish my sentence, what's really weird is the idea that, like, Q and Moneypenny aren't even in Casino Royale or Quantum, and that's, like, really weird to think about. And it's actually, and again, you know, bothers me because they're just rewriting shit. Just like the problem with it, and I don't blame Daniel on this. It's not his fault. He's just a dude acting, and that's it. He just happens to be in these films. That's the problem. That's not, you know. They'll rewrite shit, and then they'll act like you're an idiot because you didn't know that. This will probably have to be saved for later because we're about to relive the worst part of Her Majesty's Secret Service. Can I fucking talk, or do you have to constantly talk? Subtitles. Again, reminder, this is... You need to stop talking. These are terrible controls. So far, I haven't touched the control stick once. So that little... Alright, I hit the wrong stick that time. So that turn I made, that wasn't me turning. That was the game turning. So, think about stuff like that when you shut the fuck up and let me play the game and stop talking! Jesus! So, like, some turns are made, but you're not making it, which makes the perspective of this terrible, because, like, you don't have absolute and total control over the environment you're in. Oh, that's wrong. God God, I hate this. Like, game design can be so much better. Like, the way this is, I'm going to have to say it now because I'm not going to have the opportunity because I'm going to fail every 5 seconds because no one knows how to program a video game correctly. Think of this like the slot car derby minigame from Mario Party, where there's 4 tracks, and left and right just makes you hop between tracks, and there's obstacles on the tracks. That's what it is. You're just pushing forward. You don't actually get to turn anything. So when the game turns itself for you and you hit something, it's not your fault because you're on a rail and it's just bad design. Instead of giving you free actual control to prevent all of these things like, you know, the other James Bond games that were good did. From Russia with Love, Nightfire, just some examples of good control schemes with vehicles. World's not enough for a good control scheme for skiing. Look at history, man.
James, you need to catch up with Patrice. Don't let him escape.
Where's Bond?
007 is following him across the rooftop. James, he's jumped onto the next rooftop.
I think that was the point where I crashed and it's over. Well, we got to say one word before we failed the mission. Actually, this one is more forgiving than Her Majesty, but it's still just as terrible with controls. And it goes on for longer, too. That turn, not me, didn't make that turn. That turn, not me, didn't make that turn. Still not touching the control stick, but notice how it's turning stuff around for me. Bad game design. Very, very bad.
I'm following in the car.
Thank you. I also wish... Another turn? Not me. Not turning. Like, do you see how that's disorienting? Because if you don't, like, don't make a game. Please. He's not anymore.
He's gone into one of the buildings. James, I'm following in the car. James, on your right. Eve, can you still see Bond? Bond is still tracing.
Oh, this is new section. Not me turning.
James, I'm going to try and get ahead of him.
They also checkpoint you in the worst possible ways. So the checkpoint is going to be in front of that bus. So once I hit this A button, I'm going to instantly hit a bus because they don't know how to design a game.
Eve, can you still see Bond? Patrice, Mom. James, I'm going to try and get ahead of him.
Alright, well, I mean, there's the proof. I didn't hit the first bus, but I hit the second bus because the world was busy turning and flipping and being badly designed. Not me turning. Not me turning. That was me turning. What did I hit? I'll give you a clue. Nothing. I did it again. I haven't failed yet? Oh, thank you. Somehow I made a thing? Well...
I'm coming from the opposite side. James, I'm on the bridge. We've got him. He's trapped.
On a train.
What do you mean on a train?
Bond and Patrice are on the roof of a train.
Well, get after them.
See, now as far as a retelling of this goes, it's actually, for the most part, pretty accurate. The problem I have with it is, firstly, they don't actually know it's Patrice. He's just some guy who killed people, and that's about it, and they're going after him. They don't know it's Patrice until after this. But, like, what I'm trying to say about, like, complaining about Daniel Craig stuff is it's like, Moneypenny was never meant to... She wasn't a field agent who had decided she'd rather be a secretary because no one in the world wants to be a secretary or something. Like, that's insulting to the secretaries of the world everywhere. They just randomly start calling her Mom, and they're like, yeah, you know, that's always been the way it is. And it's like, no, it's not. And, like, they do these things where they're like, what do you mean you didn't know that, idiot? We only made it up 5 minutes ago. What are you, stupid? And it's like, that's what annoys me so much about all the fucking Daniel Craig films, is they do shit like that. Like, the thing that bothered me so much about Skyfall was that it had zero meaning because they just made it up for the film. He wasn't from Skyfall. He was from some bitch-ass little village in Canterbury. Like, they just made that up for this. And that's what annoys me so much about the reboot of the Daniel Craig stuff and shit like that, is they're just rewriting history for when it's convenient for them, so then when you watch it and you get confused because you're like, this isn't right, and they're like, yeah, it is, dumbass. And that's what annoys me. They threw away 50 years worth of stuff, 20 films, so they can rewrite shit and call you an idiot for thinking you know things. It'd be the same thing as if, like, Harry Potter was remade, and they're like, what the fuck you mean you didn't know Ronald Weasley was Harry's cousin and Dumbledore was his grandfather? What are you, some sort of fucking 5-year-old, you idiot? Like, it's the same principle, you know? That's my problem, is they do shit like this. They rewrite stuff, and then they call you an idiot for not knowing that. Because they're like, we just decided it 5 minutes ago, and that's it. But that's mission 1. That's me ranting. They took the worst part of Her Majesty, and they brought it back, and they made it longer. And, like, it's just overall a stupid short mission. I'm glad it's free, because I would have felt super insulted if I had paid for this, and I would have asked for my money back. But digital download shit does not ask you for doesn't give you that ability. DLC, like, you're stuck with that forever. There is no refunds. That's a toxic policy. I hate that as well, especially in modern gaming. But I'm going to stop ranting for a minute, and we're going to go on to the next mission.